So hello my dear friends, welcome back. Welcome to your channel Cooking Astrology. First of all, I would like to thank all of you for subscribing my channel and liking my videos. Thanks a lot. So let's continue our journey, our series of planets through 4th house in the D-9 Navamsha chart in Vedic Astrology. And in this particular video, let's try to understand Mercury placement in the 4th house of your D-9 chart and what are going to be the results, whether positive and negative, that are specifically connected with this placement. Let's try to understand in this video. See, whenever Mercury comes in the 4th house of the D9, this Mercury is actually going to become the jack of all trades and master of none. Mercury is going to be a very communicative kind of energy. When it specifically enters into the 4th house, this actually have the capacity to gather a lot of information. Now it totally depends upon which zodiac sign Mercury is posited, and you must need to check its dignity in the D1 chart at the same time. Specifically pay attention towards the zodiac signs, like where the sign of Gemini and Virgo is posited in the D1 chart, and then try to study the Mercury placement into the D9 chart. This will eventually help you to understand like from which areas of the life Mercury is going to gather the information, because this Mercury is just like a chatterbox that actually have the capacity to gain all the information, all the knowledge, and then Mercury have the capacity to present that knowledge in front of other people. If this Mercury is connected with the money and wealth houses, any like 2nd house, 11th house, so that is the communication with regards to finance and money. If that Mercury is interconnected with the houses of career or the houses of business, so then Mercury is going to gather information of the multiple businesses, how to start a business, how to run a business. If Mercury is connected with the 10th house of the career, it means Mercury is going to become that kind of energy that is going to gain all the input, specifically what is happening in the office politics. If Mercury is connected with the 7th house and particularly the relationship part, Mercury tend to gain a lot of interest into that relationship aspect also. This Mercury is not actually interested in studying its own relationship. Mercury will take more interest in other people's life, like how other people's relationships are going. And that is where, out of studying the perception from multiple people, this Mercury is going to make its own mindset. This Mercury in the 4th house is not going to have its original mindset regarding relationships, marriage, finance, any sort of these things. But whatever the information this Mercury is gathering from the surroundings, from the environment, or from the other people, then Mercury have the capacity to rely over that particular knowledge. And based upon that particular knowledge which Mercury is gaining from other people or gaining from the surroundings, this Mercury have the capacity to implement that knowledge into the positive way. Even one more thing, if you look into the D9 chart from the 7th house, this 4th house is actually becoming the 10th house of your spouse or life partner. So this Mercury is actually becoming that kind of a placement which shows the profession of a spouse or your life partner at the same time, or how both of your life is actually going to be molded. If you are in a one-on-one relationship, and specifically after getting married, how this Mercury have the capacity to create an impact into that career environment. Now this Mercury also specifically have the capacity to become a very selfish person actually. Mercury is not that kind of a planet that is always sitting on the giving end. Although it depends upon the zodiac sign placement also, like whether it's in the Pisces, in some watery zodiac sign, or if it is in conjunction with Moon and Venus, then the situations might going to differ. But most of the time, this Mercury, whenever it is in the 4th house, this is more of a professional kind of a bond. Mercury in the 4th house is not a representation of a love bond where you are having a very loving kind of a relationship, although love is going to be there, but that is a very practical love. Like if I am contributing 20% in this relationship, so you also need to do the 20% contribution. If I'm looking into the financial aspects of the life, then you need to look into the kids and other that kind of a thing. So this Mercury is a very practical thinker actually. Mercury have the capacity to understand the practicalities of marriage. Mercury is not a very emotional until and unless I told you this is in water or in conjunction with some watery planets. Also one very important thing, if this Mercury is afflicted in the D9 chart, and by mean to say affliction in the D9, if Mercury is posited in the sign of Scorpio, in the sign of Aquarius, even in the zodiac sign of Scorpio, Aquarius, and if Mercury is in conjunction with the Rahu and Ketu axis, then this is a afflicted Mercury. Now Mercury is that childish kind of a brain that actually have the capacity to commit lot of mistakes. Mercury is not having that kind of a wisdom. Mercury is not like a Jupiter. Jupiter is the wisest among all. So Jupiter have the capacity to differentiate between what is dharma and what is non-dharma. Mercury in the 4th house tend to lose its capacity to differentiate between the what is dharma and what is non-dharma, and that is where the negative side of the Mercury is actually going to be present in this particular placement, and specifically depend upon the dasha of the native, whether you are running through the complete Mahadasha of Mercury or there are some antardashas of the Mercury. These people actually have the capacity to go into the adharmic pathway. Now the non-dharma is which is not aligned with the dharma. It may be theft, it may be crime, it may be cheating as well. Mercury have that tendencies, specifically if it is afflicted. If this Mercury is very well posited or if it is very well dignified, then Mercury is not going to follow the path of dharma, non-dharma, sorry. Then Mercury is going to be very dharmic. This is going to then having a very strong ideologies and very strong belief systems that are actually going to be shaping other people's lives. There are two scenarios where Mercury is taking the knowledge from environment and this is shaping their own life. If your own relationship aspect is very good, Mercury is weak, Mercury is going to look into other person's life. And Mercury will think, okay, their relationship aspect is not very good actually. So same energy Mercury is interacting. But if the dignity is very powerful, Mercury is actually going to set a benchmark in front of other people. Then no matter what kind of a sufferings which you are going to face in the initial stages or it may be in the later stages of the life, Mercury tend to gain knowledge. And after multiple failures of love life, by gaining a lot of knowledge, Mercury tend to become the best planet in this 4th house. Because here I will tell you, Mercury have the capacity to connect that past mistakes of the relationships with the future life. So this Mercury is then acting as a guide, as an advisor, as a preacher. Specifically if the Jupiter influence is over this planet Mercury, like Jupiter is posited along with Mercury, then this have that capacity to lead you into that direction. Even one more thing, maturity age of planet Mercury is 32. So 32, as soon as you turn out to be 32, 32nd year of your life, first of all, this have the capacity to trigger new relationships or the event of marriage into your life. Although for this prediction, we need to look into all the other aspects also, but Mercury have the capacity to trigger that part. Second important thing, Mercury also have the capacity to trigger the event of purchasing your first property or purchasing a home when you are going to be turning to the age of 32. And the third prediction is with regards to the foreign settlement. And that too is going to be from the impact of the wife planetary alignments over the husband's life. I have seen certain placements of Mercury in the Navamsha Kundli in this 4th house particularly. In the D-9 chart, Mercury is forming connection with the 7th and the 12th house. So 12th house is actually the foreign land and foreign country. Now as soon as Mercury forming the connection in the D1 with the 12th house, as soon as you are getting married, the same event of marriage is actually going to trigger the event of permanent settlement into the foreign country as well. So this is quite a tricky placement, but I hope you have gained some deep insights in this video with me. Now if you are having any queries, any consultations, feel free to contact me at my email ID and I will try my best to respond you back as soon as possible. So till then, please subscribe my channel below, make sure to hit the like button if you really enjoyed this video, and I'm going to meet you very soon in the next video. Till then, please take care of yourself and Hare Krishna.